Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to our Friday live stream. That's right, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, also a Lifetime Longhorn, Bobby Burton, and also the estimable Jerry Hamilton. We got a lot to get into on the show. You guys throw out your questions, comments. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. There's a lot of college football action actually happening tonight. We can get into that. Also talk about the big college football weekend on the horizon for us this weekend with no Longhorns in action, but Big Ten's got some huge games as well as the SEC. So we can talk about that. But let's start off with the nugget that CJ Vogel posted over at the ontexasfootball.com chat in the chat room there, and posted on the message board that Emmett Mosley is actually practicing, gentlemen, with the team.
Been practicing a couple of days, according to CJ and Rod and Jerry. This is kind of the final piece we were hoping to see deployed, I guess, by the Texas offense. Mosley, the transfer from Stanford, had a really good freshman campaign, came into Texas at semester, at the end of the spring semester, but has been sidelined with a hamstring injury multiple times now. He is back practicing. We'll see if he is joined by Trey Wisner as well as Cedric Baxter this coming week as Texas prepares. Texas was off this morning, by the way, the practice field, no practice this morning, but that was the case on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with Emmett Mosley.
Yeah, and I'm breaking some news now, too, that I saw the Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot's real. So everything's falling into place, guys, for the Florida game. That's just in the chat because they were about to say it anyways.
Emmett Mosley exists. We certainly hope he exists. Hope he's not the roster imposter, the second coming of the roster imposter. But what would it mean? Let's just hypothetically throw it out there. Let's just be very optimistic. If he is available, I mean, you're starting SEC play, and obviously still got time, but you'd be starting SEC play. That's usually when only the guys you trust make it into the rotation. You're on the road too, by the way. That's the guys you really trust make it into the rotation. Has he practiced enough, and have the coaches seen enough, and has he proven enough to the coaches to be one of those guys that would make it into the circle of trust? That would be the question for me. Even if he is available, I mean, other than special teams, maybe, do you see him in the rotation?
Look, I'm going to lean to yes because of what Sark was saying. Tetapari ones in Siesta Key. Yes, it's a beautiful place, and I'm jealous. Because of what Sark said right before Emmett Mosley, I guess, got injured. After we saw a couple of the media open window practices there, and Sark said he's bigger than we thought. He's faster than they thought. He's stronger than we thought. He's more physical. He's pretty much better than everything we thought about him. And that's saying something because he was one of the two guys at receiver they probably targeted in the portal. So if we trust Sark, remember he told us Ty Anthony Smith is a budding star. If we've learned anything, when Sark gives us some clues, we need to take the clues. So I'm going to go with yes, Emmett Mosley will be a factor for Texas. But Rod and Bobby, the big question for me, whether it's Emmett Mosley or Parker Livingstone, how is going to be the offensive line performance is going to dictate the personnel packages.
Yeah, offensive line performance, tight end performance, quarterback performance. They will all feed off each other. I'm a little different than Jerry, and what I mean by that is this. Rod, I'd love your take on it as a former player. I mean, how many snaps can he really get in a game like this where he hasn't been practicing full go the whole year? Is he 10 to 15 snaps? Is he 20 to 25, or is he more? I mean, if he's 20 to 25, I'll be surprised. I think he's going to be somewhere between 10 and 20 at most a week from now.
Oh, that's good. That's essentially what I'm saying too. Okay. I don't think he's going to go play because I think they're going to play a lot of 12 personnel.
So you do think? My point is, like, I thought you were thinking, hey, he's going to go in and start right away, but you're saying,
yeah. Yeah, I think he'll be a factor on this team, factor in this game. But do I think he's going to go out and play 50 snaps? I do not. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not sure 3 receivers are going to play that many snaps in this game.
That's fair. Rod, how hard is that for a player to get up to speed?
No,
I mean, I don't know if you've ever dealt with it, but you've certainly seen teammates deal with it where they're injured early and then it's almost like it takes them one game to get back to game speed, and then they're ready for the week after almost. Is that typical?
Well, I think it depends on the opponent, right? And against Florida, at Florida, I do expect that to be kind of a slow, gradual process for him to come back, right? We saw DeAndre Moore come back versus Sam Houston State. He looked great. But that's Sam Houston State. That ain't Florida. That's not on the road, not against like athletes. So I do think it depends on the competition you come back against. But I agree with you, unless some guys are just kind of freaks of nature, but we've been out a long time, and it feels like Emmett Mosley's been out a while. It feels like I don't know exactly how many practices he's gotten in, all that kind of stuff, and at were they going full speed? I'm not sure about all that, but feels like he's been out a while. So I'm gonna say it's gonna take him, some time to get used to the speed of the game. We know he can handle it, mentally. He can handle everything, the workload that Sark's putting on him, wants him to have position fluidity and learn all the different receiver positions. But I just think ultimately him physically being used to the speed of the game and processing it at a really, really high level and quickly, I think all that coming together might take a little while for him. I do think it will, because I like what I saw in film. Matter of fact, I loved what I saw in film. Great in contested catch situations. I think he really could be a guy that could be a difference maker as a blocker on those perimeter screens that Sark talks about all the time. I think he'd be great in the scramble drill downfield too for Arch. So I really do like what I saw out of him. Really strong hands. So I think he's going to be. I'm with Jerry. I think they need him. That's why Sark doesn't bring in receivers in the portal that he's not planning on using. That just ain't how he operates.
He was brought in to be a starter.
He was brought exactly. So I think they need him and they want to use him. But I'm with you, Bobby. I would give it a couple of games. And I think he is gradually going to be used. If he's available, I think you see him for a few snaps. No doubt.
The other thing I'll say is I think an interesting thing with a player like this is he's been sitting watching the Texas offense from the sidelines. That could help him as much as playing in it.
Mental reps.
He's a Stanford guy. I mean, it started 9 games as a freshman. So I don't think system pickup is going to be a difficult thing for him. And I think that we know the Texas staff loved what they saw from him. I actually think this is a situation where it's not a blessing in disguise. You wanted him playing, but him sitting watching the Texas offense, I think may actually help him. Physically, he's ready. I mean, that guy probably started 9 games in the ACC last year. Yeah. So, and Jenny Burton with a question. Jenny, this should be a super chat, by the way. Isn't Mosley the one? Start using Bobby's money for super chats. Isn't Mosley the one whose mom was a world-class soccer player? Yeah, Emmett Mosley's mom at Notre Dame was the national soccer player of the year. The father played football at Notre Dame.
No athletes in that household.
If you have bad feet in that family, you are a pitty athlete.
Unlike this family household I have here, we're just ripe with athletes.
Jenny says athleticism comes from your mom. Yeah, you go. Let's say that about Arch, because Arch's mom apparently is really athletic too. So there you go. All right. Before we move on, we got some questions and we got some other topics that we'll dive into. But Bobby, would you do us all a favor and tell the folks out there about one of our fantastic sponsors, our friends over at Garage Beer?
Yeah, I love this. This is beer the way it should be: cold, crisp, easy. Garage Beer has no gimmicks. There's Garage Beer Light and Garage Beer Lime with 95 calories, 3 grams of carbs, and only 4% ABV. It is beer-flavored beer. Drink responsibly. Again, that's Garage Beer, no gimmicks. And Rod, we talked about it when we were at the co-op the other day. We're up there with the Kelseys now. And their podcast, they're sponsored by Garage Beer. So I'm pretty psyched about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Never thought we'd have so much in common.
Yeah.
And their podcast. I like it. It's pretty cool. All right, let's get we'll get a couple of questions in here, and then we'll dive into. I got a question for the panel here, but how about this from MJF? Says, should we have ball security concerns with players like Mosley and Wisner returning? I don't with Wisner.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's not been his issue to me.
Yeah, Wisner.
Not historically.
No, but yeah, I trust Wisner at this point. He's earned my trust as a player.
I like that. I like the question. I don't know, and I will say this, MJF. I don't know enough about Mosley to know whether I should be worried about ball security, other than just a new player coming back. Like, is he a guy that you have to worry about? But you got to remember, Trey Wright. How many carries did he have against A&M again?
33 for 186.
Yeah, and how many times did he fumble?
Grown man.
No.
Yeah. I don't think you have to worry about Wisner, but Mosley's a different story. I just don't look. We haven't seen enough of him to know if he has any fumbling issues. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I'm looking back at his stats his freshman year, and I'm not seeing anything as far as a fumble in a game. Somebody might be able to find something, but I don't think he had a fumble. 48 receptions, no fumble.
That's damn good. Yeah, them some sure hands. Like I said, he's got strong hands too. I mean, you can tell from the film he's got some strong hands. Are they sure hands? That means you're gonna hold on to the rock. Sounds like that's the case too for Emmett Mosley. All right, thank you for the question, MJF. All right, I got a question for you guys, just real quick. And if you guys have some more questions, throw them out there. We'll get to them. Other than defense, take defense out of it. All right, defense out of the equation here. What do we know about this Texas team a third of the way through?
Yeah, punter is a strength in my opinion.
Kicker.
Yeah. I feel like kicker. Yeah, I do feel like kicker. We know he hadn't been utilized that much. Was he 5 of 5? But I do feel like from his history and meeting and talking to Mason Shipley, I feel like I'm confident in him.
Having met Mason Shipley, he's more adult.
Yeah,
you realize.
Yeah.
He's more mature than you realize for his age. I mean,
he's married, right?
Yeah, he said on air he's married.
Yeah.
He has a different level. He exudes a different level of confidence.
Yeah,
he's not just a college kid like so many of these young men are. I mean, he's got a little bit more maturity to that. So I do think that the kicking game, Rod, is something I'm certain about. Outside of that.
So is there anything on offense that we believe we know that we're certain?
I think we know that Texas is really talented at tight end. I think we know they have some talent at receiver. They have some guys that are dependable at running back. But the problem is all of that is predicated at least somewhat on the offensive line and quarterback. And I don't think we know yet what the offensive line is, and I don't think we truly know yet what quarterback is. Like, is Sam Houston State did Arch really unleash the Kraken? Is he now that guy, or is he gonna revert? And I think that's a great question. And Rod, you have any thoughts on that, or Jerry?
I do. Yeah, look, I think Texas is good at running back. I think they're actually very good as a running back unit because, look, Trey Wisner and C.J. Baxter, for whatever people want to say, they had 120 yards rushing combined at Ohio State. See how many tandems of backs go for 120 against Ohio State this year. I mean, the Texas is good at running back. Trey Wisner is a 1,000-yard rusher. C.J. Baxter was a dang near a freshman All-American, right? I mean, they're good at running back. As we'll see where CJ's health is with the hamstring. And then I think with the James Simon coming on, I think they're very good at running back, actually. And I think they're really good at tight end. I think we're going to see more Jack injuries against Florida than we've seen to this point this season as far as targets in the passing game, Rod. I think we're going to see him targeted more in this game.
Yep. And maybe to Jerry's point, maybe for Texas trying to form some identity that they do lean on if and when they get CJ Baxter back and they get Trey Wisner back. The run game is probably closer right now on offense to being something that we know that can perform, especially when you add in the juice of Arch's legs in the quarterback run game now, which is also a big part of the offense. And then it's kind of the offensive line you're waiting to gel or to find those core concepts they can execute really well in any situation on the road in SEC play, whether that's outside zone or inside power or, zone read, whatever it may be. And then you play 12 personnel, you add more gaps, add more bodies to the run game for Texas, especially with diverse tight ends who make it tough for opposing defenses to try to predict what you're going to do based on your tight ends you got in the game. I mean, that's something Texas, I think, is trying to avoid, too. They don't want to be predictable with who they have on the field. So they're going to play a lot of 12 personnel, which they did versus San Luis State, over 60%. You got to make sure that all those guys are weapons in the passing game, or at least can be utilized in the passing game, and they're not liabilities as run blockers on the field.
Hey, Rod, Florida plays a 3-3-5. So let's just say with a week to prepare for Texas, you pretty much know what they're going to show Arch, right? You're going to see some 3 high, right?
Yeah, if I'm Florida, I'm throwing it out. Why not?
So the question is kind of what Florida's defensive front's good, but they're banged up and lack depth now, depending on who can actually play against Texas. But we know Caleb Banks is probably out for the year. Keith Niebuhr told us that. We'd heard that. Or likely out for a while. And he's their first, second-round pick. But what do you kind of expect, the 3-3-5, what do we kind of expect from Florida defensively in this game, you think?
I expect them to give a different picture pre- and post-snap. That's something Ohio State did really well against Arch. Looked like he confused him. I'd throw those different looks. You're right about the 3 high. I mean, it was a UTEP, I believe, that used a ton of the 3 high against Texas. I would utilize that. I know Sark has his antidotes to it and things that he believes work against it. But if you're just looking at what has had success, maybe disproportionately against Sark's offense and matched up well, there's no doubt 3 high teams or teams that major and minor in those 3 high concepts have had more success, I think, overall than other schemes. So I'd do that. And I would a lot of twists and stunts up front for the defense, for the offensive line, for a young O-line to try to force communication issues on the road. I would move that defensive front to give a different picture. Probably throw out, they did that penny front versus Ohio State did versus Texas. The penny front is basically when you got, your 3 D linemen, you got 2 overhang edges, and you got that 1 inside middle linebacker. They call it a penny front, but it's a 5-man face. Georgia did that a lot against Texas. 5-man face, and then try to isolate matchups and force isolate matchups on the offensive line in pass blocking and in the run schemes too. They did that really well. So not every team can do it, but Florida's got the athletes and they got the defensive front to be able to do that. So I would try to, if I'm Florida, I'm taking the game plan and the blueprint from Kirk Smart. I'm taking it from Matt Patricia. They can do some of those things. From UTEP, by the way. UTEP had success too. I'd take some of those things and see what I can replicate.
So got to run the football early successfully.
Yep. And 12 personnel helps with that, no doubt. All right. I know we got a super chat here, so we'll get to the super chat, and then we'll get to some of the other topics. Isaiah, thank you, Isaiah. We appreciate the super chat. Says, any Dre Quinn news? I know this is a topic.
Nothing new other than, look, there's confidence in Austin, and we posted that. And early in the week, I'd posted that, look, this thing is real and it had legs before he decommitted. Despite the fact that he visited Tennessee, he has not been back to Texas. So we'll see where this thing goes. But I think there's some confidence in Austin. Now, to be clear, there's been confidence in Austin before and the recruit goes a different direction. But there is confidence in Austin on Dre Quinn right now. Sark is scheduled to be in Atlanta. He should be in Atlanta today. He's going to Tyler Atkinson's game at Grayson tonight. They're playing Newton High. That's a very talented high school football game, by the way. Grayson's ridiculous. So chances are somebody popped their head in at Buford at some point today or in the surrounding area. Let's go with that. But is there anything imminent right now. We have not heard that, but we also won't rule it out.
Should be mentioned, Texas coaches are also, the assistants are out and about everywhere, by the way. Right, Jerry? It's not just, I mean, they were at, Sark was at Jermaine Bishop's place yesterday. He was at Koziak Paula's school for a game against Katy Paytow. He was at Kingwood to see Kennedy Brown, the junior offensive tackle. But that's just the head coach. The assistants are everywhere right now. They're going to see, I'm sure there are people in Florida, there's people in California, et cetera, all around the country right now talking to talking to some of these guys right now. So it is a big recruiting week when you get an off week.
Yeah.
That is just typical of every major college right now.
I wanted to follow up because this question was asked this morning and I didn't get a chance to answer it. Is Texas recruiting Landon Williams-Callis, the 27 running back from Richmond Randall? He had a big game last night against Iowa Colony. That Iowa Colony is very fast, by the way. I think Randall went 49-42. Texas had offered him a couple of years ago when he was younger, right? He's going to be an interesting prospect, very good player. He's got to really pick the right school. He is 5'7", 175, 180 pounds.
Wow.
So his recruitment will be interesting. He's a really good player, but he's also got to pick the right school. I'm interested to see when it comes down to it, what Landon Williams-Callis, who the schools he really looks at, the conferences he looks at in order to maximize him as a back, because he's a smaller back. So he's not going to get body.
Jerry and Rod, I watched him this morning after I saw the stats from last night. I went and watched him. He's an interesting runner. He's very his body type is almost like Rock Cartwright. I don't know if you remember that guy, but out of Conroe, played in the NFL. He's very stocky, but he has some moves to him that are just, almost. Bijan has these moves that are like incredible angles. Like he can go a 90-degree angle and be moving side. Landon Williams-Callis he's not like Bijan at all. Not the same type of player at all. I want to be clear about that. He's actually a little bit of a pile mover at his size even. But he has some of those jump cuts where you're like, whoa, how did that happen? I mean, he made some people miss that were really difficult in that game because they had highlights up and I went and watched it. I was like, okay, that looks like a normal run, typical large volume carry, gets a lot of yards. And then later in the game, he started making some guys miss with some cuts. And I was like, whoa, that's a little different.
Yeah.
And so I could see why not only Texas is offering him, but a lot of people. But interesting player, very interesting.
So I saw him play last year in person. Des Garrett says Jaquiz Rogers' cousin. Yes, I don't think he has that lateral juice. Jaquiz, and not to say comparing him. Jaquiz was special laterally, special, and that's why I think with Landon, he's gonna have to. They need to be very smart about the school and the scheme they pick for him. Very smart. I don't think he's a one running back fits all prospect at all. I think they need to be very smart about where he goes.
All right. Thank you for the super chat and the question. All right. Before we get to some other questions here, let's thank another one of our sponsors. Usually on home games, we're hanging out at the Co-op, having a great time. But obviously with the away games, and the Longhorns will be away for a while, we're showing some love to the Co-op, but we can't be in the friendly confines of the Co-op. But Bobby, tell the folks about all the great things they're doing down there.
Hey, they've got this hat. They've got the 40 acres collection. They've got all you want at the University of Texas Co-op. It's a nonprofit and has been serving the Longhorn community since 1896. Every penny of profit directly benefits course material scholarships. In fact, more than 9,000 students received course material scholarships last year. 40 Acres Apparel that I think Rod is wearing today was born inside DKR, designed and built exclusively for the University of Texas and Longhorn Nation. Go down to the University of Texas Co-op or go to the University of Texas Co-op.com and get geared up with 40 Acres Apparel. Great designs, fashionable, high quality. SPF 50, moisture wicking. It is a super good product, high quality. It looks great. It feels great. 40 Acres is also a proud sponsor of the course material scholarships for UT students. Thank you to both the University Co-op as well as 40 Acres Collection for sponsoring our Friday live stream.
Thank you very much, Bobby. Appreciate that. And we appreciate our friends over at the UT Co-op and 40 Acres Apparel. All right, let's get to a couple of questions here. Texas Dude says, have y'all seen the younger backs having eyes up a little more, or are they still subjected to third hit fumbles? Thoughts?
I think that's one of the things that makes James Simon going to be so good is obviously he's ahead of the game. But he's very instinctive. But his father was a college football coach for years, running back coach, wide receiver coach, was a really good hybrid running back wide receiver himself. That's the one thing about James Simon that's impressed me is his eyes are always up on contact. He never drops his head. So he's always ready to not only bounce off the first guy, but be ready for the second and third hit. And I think that is sometimes for younger backs, the toughest transition from high school to college is because in high school, Rod, I mean, Bobby, we've seen them all. That you're so much more talented. The high school guys you go against, you can drop your head on contact, and an extra split second it takes to get your eyes up. You're still so talented you can break the second tackle. It doesn't work that way in college. It doesn't work that way. That head drop on contact ends your runs at the college level early, and can lead to ball protection issues because you can just get punched out or hit out.
I would add this on Jarrett Gibson. I saw him trying not to drop his head on Saturday. I don't know if you saw that or noticed that, Jerry and Rod, but this is near the goal line. He had a real power run, and he almost went down with his head, but he popped his head back up real quick. I was like, I'm wondering if they're talking to him about it right now.
Yeah,
because it looked like he was strategically trying not to bow his head, not to go down and lose his eyes. We'll see if that continues as the season goes on.
One of the things with running back and ball protection, everybody always goes to the high and tight argument, right? But here's just a simple thing about playing running back. If your head's down, you can't see where the hit's coming from.
Mm-hmm. You hit unexpectedly, and then boom,
ball pops out. Pops out. You could have the strongest hands in the world, but if you don't see where the hit's coming from, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's how you know to put two hands on the ball. You're running,
exactly right.
They're coming. They got to put their hands on it. They're all coming for the ball. Yeah.
Yep. If your head's down, you aren't going to see where the helmet's coming from. You're in trouble.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. All right, thank you, Texas Dude. How about this one from Bevo Guy? Bevo Guy says, I heard Mateer may be back for the Texas game because of a miraculous work done by his hand surgeon. Or is this just a way to throw Sark and PK off so they don't know exactly what to plan for? Gentlemen, the gamesmanship here? Are we talking about?
I think that report's been debunked. Like Dr. Shin did not post on Facebook about John Mateer's surgery. But I will say this. I think Brian Irwin, Rod, I don't know if you heard him this morning on Coffee and Football. He thinks Oklahoma will list him as questionable.
They should.
They should.
Yeah.
He thinks they'll list him as questionable. Do I think he's going to play? I do not.
I wouldn't play him for anything.
I wouldn't either.
If I were, of course I would be happy with that. But I think that you look at what they have. They literally have 2 games they can lose. Out of the next 7, they only lose 2. They're in the playoffs. If they get Mateer re-injured quickly, there's no chance they're only losing 2 games. Try to get an inspired effort out of your troops against Texas, somehow pull out a victory, and then get Mateer back, and then you lose 2 of the next 6, and you're still in the playoffs. I just think if I'm OU right now, I'm thinking, look, we got to go try to beat Texas somehow, some way, get a kick return, pull off fake punt, get Michael Hawkins one-on-one somehow with somebody so he can just take off and, show off his speed. I don't know. And just rely on our defense maybe for this game to take us and confuse the hell out of the Texas quarterback. But I could not fathom putting your quarterback that likes to run that likes to run out there, potentially getting his hand re-injured and having another 2 weeks off because of a re-injury, because you enter him into the game too quickly.
Well, here's the other thing. He had surgery on his throwing thumb. It's not like you can bandage it up and he's going to be able to grip a football and throw it. There's a lot that comes with a throwing hand that you had surgery on.
Yeah.
It'd be really risky. It'd be really risky.
And you guys are just talking about the program standpoint and obviously from a football standpoint, but then there is these days, John Mateer is his own little corporation. And so there's some business decisions on his side with his representatives that they may advise him another way about his future. And I mean, this guy was the Heisman, I believe the odds on Heisman favorite, but when he got hurt. So we shall see. I don't think he's going to play, but you should list him if you're Oklahoma. You should list him, as whatever it is. Like, so Texas has to waste practice time on John Mateer concepts and not everything with Mike Hawkins. Yeah. All right. Let's thank another sponsor before we move on. Let's thank our friends over at 40 Acres Apparel. Before we dive into some more of your questions, 40 Acres Apparel, which is always my game day gear, folks. Tell them, Bobby, about the great folks and the great collection over at 40 Acres.
Just got a number of different new items this year for 40 Acres. It's apparel that was born inside DKR and designed and built exclusively for University of Texas and Longhorn Nation. It's available at the co-op, so go to University of Texas Co-op.com and get geared up with 40 Acres Apparel. Rod, you and I talk about this all the time. Jerry loves these shirts as well. They have they're just nice and cool in the heat. They also have great collars that stay. I've got a couple of different ones now that I've had for more than 2 years, and the collar is still as good as new, which is just really rare in these types of shirts. Looks great, feels great. 40 Acres is also a proud sponsor of the course material scholarships for UT students alongside the co-op. Again, that's 40 Acres Apparel. Good stuff, man. Really good stuff. High quality.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Yes, it is great quality. It's my game day gear of choice. All right, so let's get to some super chats here, actually. Got one here from Dub. Dub says, any movement on Jaylen Lott?
So the question there, and Jerry backed out for a second. He had to go take a phone call, I believe. The situation is really interesting. Obviously, mom and dad both played sports at the University of Texas. His dad, James, held the record at UT for, I think, 20 plus years in the high jump. He committed to Oregon over the summer early. Ever since then, Texas has maintained contact. Texas brought him in for an unofficial visit this past weekend. So he's on campus. I think that Texas is poised to have something happen there. Has there been, quote unquote, official movement, Dub? The answer is no. He remains committed to Oregon. Oregon is aware that he visited Texas, however. And so there's some things going on there, everybody, but we're going to have to wait to see what the results of it are. They're not going to necessarily play this out in public like some people might. If they make a move, they'll make a move. If they don't make a move, they won't make a move. It's not going to be a public back and forth.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because the parents have been there before, right, Rod? They've seen it. Like, you would treat different. Let me ask, this is a good question. Rod, would you treat recruiting differently for your kid from a media perspective than how you treated it from a media perspective? Would you control the narrative since you've been through it and seen it, as opposed to how you handled it versus how your kid would handle it?
Yeah, it'd be hard not to, jump in there and at least advise, if not, try to steer it, right, in a certain direction where it's as easy as possible. And like you said, there is as little, leakage,
waffling.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah. So I said it. We got a chance to interview his dad. He's a classy guy. So I think they'll try to conduct this process in the classiest way they can, kind of how you said. So Texas can work behind the scenes, recruit to the whistle, as Jerry always says, and he's worth it, by the way. He's worth it to the whistle. He's one of them. They need more. You've talked about touchdown makers, and heard Marcus talking about it yesterday. He was just talking about, it does seem like there's a lack of the elite playmakers across the board offensively right now. Certain guys just haven't stepped up yet to prove themselves in that manner, but he's one of them dudes. He can play defense too, but I think he wants to play offense, sounds like.
You know who he reminds me the most of?
Who's that?
Marquise Goodwin. I mean, he runs on his toes like Mark, and I mean that in a very positive way. I mean, Marquise, how many years he played in the league?
Oh man,
yeah, he just when guys run like a deer, they really that's when you know they can really run, right? I mean,
he can jump too. Like Marquise, like he can go get it. His vertical, he is like he's a threat, not only running vertically down the field, but I'm talking about jumping vertically up to go, catch some 50-50 balls and contested catch situations. He's just really impressive. So I understand why Texas they don't want to let up, and they shouldn't. But too many ties, too many close connections to university. Yep. All right, another super chat here from Juan. This one from Juan says, thank you, Juan. If Lane Kiffin takes the Florida job, Kurt Cignetti to Ole Miss, where you all think Jimbo go? Arkansas? Oh, I know. If I'm Arkansas, I'm saying you can't do better. I think Arkansas can find like an ideal fit in this situation. Arkansas might be right now. I think they might be in a prime position to snag themselves a coach that's out of their league. And I guess Jimbo is technically out of their league too, because he got
he's not anymore. Jimbo's going to be lucky. He's going to be lucky to get Florida International.
Well, he's got a title though, a championship. I'm with you. I don't think Jimbo is in what he was in his prime. I don't think that at all. We know that from talking to Aggies and talking to Florida State fans. I get that.
What?
There you go. Hey, I like CJ
going to Arkansas.
I like CJ's suggestion. That's a good one because CJ is the first one I heard say Gundy before he was even fired. He said Gundy should go to Arkansas.
Yeah, that's a great place for him. I just don't know. Here's the deal with Gundy. Is he salvageable in the NIL world? I mean, he hasn't proven to be. Not at all. I mean, what if you're looking for people that can adapt? Would you even consider Mike Gundy?
He and Dabo have been. We know him and Dabo are damn good coaches. There's no question about that. But they have both been very stubborn and reluctant to evolve with transfer portal and with NIL. You need to go find him a GM, a real GM that can handle that side for him and just let him know, it's like, Coach, can you just not work against us? All right.
Yeah. I don't see Kurt Cignetti taking Ole Miss, though. Kurt Cignetti's angling for a power job.
He wants a bigger job.
Yeah, he's not.
He's a cocky dude.
Yeah, he's going to angle for Florida.
Yeah, he's a cocky dude, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he should be. He's a good
Jed Fish is going to angle for Florida, the Washington coach.
That might be a good fit. Didn't you say he graduated from there?
Yeah, he and Howie Roseman were were college roommates. Roseman, the GM of the Eagles.
Wow.
So fly Eagles fly there, Matthew and our back or go Birds, whatever it is. What I was going to say, Jimbo to Arkansas, though, Arkansas is such a difficult job now.
Yes.
Such a difficult job. It's almost like here's my take on it right now. There are two guys in Texas that have head jobs in the state of Texas that I think could go get a really good job. Jeff Traylor at UTSA.
Yeah.
And GJ Kinney at Texas State. Okay. They both probably belong at bigger places.
Agreed.
In my opinion. Okay. Yeah. And Arkansas is a bigger place. Oklahoma State is a bigger place than those. I think Arkansas needs to look at getting back to Texas with people with Texas roots now that both A&M and Texas are in their conference again.
Yeah.
That's when they were successful, is when they were in the Southwest Conference and they had real roots in Texas. They lost that when they went to the SEC without A&M and without Texas. Got it back slightly, but not enough. I think they got to do something. They got to get a coach that has some real Texas ties. They tried it with Chad Morris. That was a failure. So maybe they don't go back to that. But I don't know. I mean, if Ole Miss comes open, I don't know who they go to. Signetti's not going to take that job, I don't think, though.
You think he thinks he's better than Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be 3 Michigan losses away from being the next Michigan coach. That's my thought process. Is Wisconsin a better job than Indiana?
Football wise, it used to be.
Definitely have more support football wise.
Yeah.
That job is very possible to come open this year too. Luke Fickell's on the hot seat in Madison right now. He can't figure out offense to save his, you know what.
Yeah, and he's brought in some different coordinators to try to figure it out. It just hadn't worked. They can't get the athletes up there. And in the transfer portal era, there's no excuse for that when you can't get the athletes there.
Eli Drinkwitz will fit into something somewhere. I like him a lot.
He's quirky too.
He's quirky enough to be a fit at Ole Miss.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's nice. You're talking about the I like that. The coaching carousel. Well, all right, let's thank another sponsor before we move on and answer some more questions here. Let's thank our friends over at Von Lane. That's right, folks. This fall, you've got places to be. Texas football at DKR, the Red River Rivalry in Dallas, NFL Sundays in Houston and Dallas, plus ACL Fest and Austin F1 races. Folks, why waste hours at the airport or stuck behind the wheel? With Von Lane, you just walk into a hotel terminal, check in within minutes, and you're on board. No TSA, no hassle. You settle into one of just 22 oversized first-class seats. You stretch out, recline, and enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, and drinks. And if you want a beer or a cocktail, they got you covered. And travel is open now through December, so book today for game days, concerts, or even Thanksgiving and Christmas trips as well. Visit vonlane.com. That's VONLANE.com, and use the code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride with Von Lane. Von Lane, private jet on wheels. I can attest to that myself. I've taken the Von Lane several times to visit family and for business. It actually powered our Texas tour with our friends over at Third and Longhorn, and all my friends at Third and Longhorn now, they're big fans of the Von Lane. It's taking it on different trips. So once you take it, then you realize what all the fuss is about, and you'll become a Von Lane fan yourself. Bobby is too. So we're all on board, and we want to thank them for being on board with us here at On Texas Football. All right. Let's get back to questions here. Oh, Jerry's back. There he is, folks. Matter of fact, right on time, because there's a question for Jerry. From Tom. Tom says, Jerry, what's the difference between an official visit and an unofficial visit that recruits go on? Thanks for all you guys do. Hook 'em.
Pretty much these days, the only difference is schools can't pay for the flights out. Families have to pay for their flights or travel out to the university, pay for their hotel when they're on that unofficial visit. Pretty much these days, though, everything else is the same, Bobby. It's like you can still get the full official visit treatment while on an unofficial visit. You just got to get there and pay for your stay.
The big difference is obviously the financial impact. You also are given a host on your official visit, so you spend more time with the team often, and it's a little bit longer. It's 48 hours, where an unofficial visit is typically 24. It can be longer, but it's typically 24 hours, maybe even 3 hours on an unofficial visit. It just all depends. I would say the other thing, and there was a little bit of talk in the chat about it that I was reading through as y'all were talking earlier. There used to be a limit of 5 official visits that you could take. I think that number is now unlimited. So, Jerry, there have been basketball players I know that Texas is recruiting right now that are taking a number of official visits.
8 or 9.
Yeah. And so It used to only Rod back in your day. It was 5, right? Mm-hmm. Now they're not putting those training wheels on the recruiting process anymore. In a lot of ways, by the way.
By the way, for any prospect out there, if you take 8 or 9 official visits, you probably shouldn't have a girlfriend because she's going to get jealous at some point.
How often do they bring the girlfriend with them? Do they ever do that? Does the girlfriend ever come on the visit with them?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're going out on a Saturday night on 6th Street too.
I never brought. I had a girlfriend when I had my visits, but I never brought the girlfriend.
Is that Kelly Rowland?
I don't know. I don't know if you could do it. I don't even know if is it allowed to bring your girlfriend on the visit.
Yes, if you want to.
Yeah,
it's not advised. So
yeah, I would say it's ill-advised.
Would you bring your girlfriend on a Miami Hurricanes official visit?
Who told us that story about Miami? Is that Stevie Lee? Stevie Lee, I think,
he did visit Miami. Him and Geiger came down to Texas versus Miami.
Yeah, I want to say Stevie either had a visit to Miami or canceled it because he didn't want to. He's like, if I go to Miami, I'm not coming back. Yeah.
He's gonna get lost in the void.
He knew himself really well about that. But that's interesting. I remember Mac Brown told me when I came to Texas because I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was like, "Hey, Mac, I want to get my girlfriend into Texas." And he's like, "When does that happen?" She was a year younger than me, and he's like, "All right, if you're still with her after a year at Texas," he said, "we'll talk about it." He said, "But I'm gonna tell you right now, you're probably not gonna be with her." He said, "But come see me in a year." And literally right around like the next off season, Matt comes. He's like, "Hey, Rod, you still with that young lady?" I was like, "Nah, coach." He's like, "I told you." So Mac was a wise man, still is. All right, let's get a super chat here. One with a super chat. One says, "Okay, thank you, Bobby. On the Ole Miss, you think Traylor goes to the Big 12? The reason I said Jimbo is because he's a good recruiter and have those Texas ties. That's why I said Arkansas over Jimbo. You were talking about those Texas ties."
Yeah, I think Jimbo's toxic in the SEC. I mean, anybody you pay $75 million to go away to, I mean, that's a lot of wampum.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of good young coaches out there, man. Don't make this mistake.
Yeah, that's my only issue about Arkansas.
Look, I think if you're Oklahoma State or Arkansas, I think Jeff Traylor or GJ Kennedy would be a quality hire for you. I think Jeff Traylor would be really a great fit at Arkansas because he is a master East Texas guy, and they gotta have it. Even if you gotta upset somewhere along the way in recruiting, and East Texas is the place you can do it if you have an East Texas guy. But if I'm Arkansas, Jeff Traylor makes a lot of sense to me. What's interesting, did y'all see Cale Gundy this week said, my brother absolutely
coach
again, and I'm going to be on his staff?
I saw that.
So the question is he going to be at Arkansas or Virginia Tech? Because he's going somewhere.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech would be a really good fit for Mike Gundy.
Yeah, but is he a little too brash, arrogant? Does he talk a little too much for Virginia Tech? So he doesn't talk too much for Arkansas's football coach. They're fine with crazy, wild coaches. But Virginia Tech has never had a coach like that I can think of. Right?
Yeah.
That talked like that and called other coaches out and was always holding court that manner.
And there's a chance that Mike Gundy if he's coaching next year, it's at Emporia State. I'm going to put that out there.
What about
he is an acquired taste.
Yeah,
exactly.
To Rod's point.
But Arkansas wouldn't mind though. Arkansas, they want the press no matter what. They don't care. I think
they've had Bobby Petrino and brought him back.
Exactly.
They put him out there in a neck brace after he had, skidded across the highway with a staffer.
Mike Gundy and John Calipari would be good entertainment at Arkansas.
Oh man, I mean think about that. That's how you know that athletic program they don't mind salacious headlines. They don't care that much.
The one that what about Jeff Brom? He would be leaving his alma mater in Louisville.
Yeah. But
I think he's a really, really good coach.
He could be an Ole Miss replacement if Kiffin goes to Florida very easily.
He might be a dark horse at Florida.
Yeah.
Like y'all mentioned UCLA, or somebody mentioned UCLA. What's UCLA going to do for a coach? I mean, is that even like you have no support from the administration? Essentially, they've proven they just don't have no interest in being supportive. Now they're trying to act like they will be now, but we've heard that song and dance before.
Yeah.
I mean, who are they going to get?
That's a hard.
Burnt Orange Horn said Dave Aranda could disappear at UCLA. That's
how. I mean, he can't win at Baylor.
No.
They don't care that much about winning at UCLA, though, so that's what they got in the point.
Well, there's some truth there.
But
I mean, if you're Will Stein, you don't take a UCLA job.
No.
Now I might do that if I were Will Stein, because the one thing you can get at UCLA, if you're an offensive witch, you can get skill guys at UCLA now.
Yep. There's plenty of them in that state.
And you do, if you're him, if you're basically Will Stein, you want to do what you want to get that one quarterback.
Yeah,
kind of ride. Oh, they give you that great season. Cal's got whatever hell. Go find Cal's quarterback, whoever's recruiting their quarterbacks, and then go hire that dude. That dude's killing it.
I'll say this, Rod. You just brought one up. He has no support. You have no chance to win there. But Justin Wilcox is a good coach. If I'm UCLA, I go hire Justin Wilcox.
That's interesting.
You know who his OC is? Brian Harsin.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and that freshman quarterback's a stud. Don't just look at his numbers from San Diego State. Go back and watch that game. He was dropping dimes until they got behind, and he just doesn't have any skill talent around him. That's UCLA AD and people, if y'all are listening, Justin Wilcox might be your hire.
Are they going to lose that quarterback to some schools?
They might not. They probably will. I mean, somebody's going to offer that guy $5 million a year. He's
exactly.
Really
you think Miami won't?
You know the name I've heard at Miami.
Texas Tech Mike. What are you talking about?
Texas
The Raiders.
There's your one, because everybody down when I was in South Florida, I heard the same name that Miami's going to target to get in the portal. CJ Bailey at NC State, who's really good. He was Jeremiah Smith's high school quarterback at Chaminade Madonna, and he's tearing it up at NC State. He's about 6'6", 225. He's a sophomore, true sophomore this year. Everybody, when I was down there 2 weeks ago, was predicting that kid will be at Miami next year. Already predicting it.
Wow.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Good discussion there, guys. All right. We'll answer a couple more questions before we end today's live stream, but let's thank our last sponsor of the day. Let's thank our good friends over at Garage Beer. Thank you, buddy.
Hey, let's have one. This is beer the way it should be. Cold, crisp, easy. Garage Beer, no gimmicks. There's Garage Beer Light and Garage Beer Lime with 95 calories, 3 grams of carbs, and only 4% ABV. Beer-flavored beer. Again, it's beer the way it should be. Cold, crisp, and easy. Garage Beer, no gimmicks. Enjoy responsibly on this Friday afternoon live stream. Thank you to our sponsor, Garage Beer.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I like the lime better than the regular, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somebody asked me that the other day. I forgot to mention. I like the lime better than regular.
I'll tell you in about 5 minutes. How about this one from Joey? Joey Austin says, is Cole Hudson back? I think they should continue with Connor Robertson at center. Thoughts?
Cole Hudson is back. Practice. He's good to go. They're healthy on the offensive line. Cole Hudson's a starter at center, not Connor Robertson, whether you think they should or not. I always hesitate to say this, but because I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to somebody or anything like that. But I, even myself, hesitate to say, oh, well, they should try this guy at center or this guy at tackle or this guy at wide receiver or defensive end. Those coaches are coaching for their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
If you think there's any chance that they're not going with the guys that give them the best chance to keep their jobs, you've never been in that situation before on a football team. And so I would just say, Joey and Austin, I hear you. You may like him better, but Kyle Flood, I think, disagrees with you. And he's the one that matters. That's what I would say. Like, oh, well, they should go with it happens every year. They should go with this guy at corner over this guy. They should go with this guy at safety over this guy. Team players and fans are always trying to push a backup ahead of somebody else. Well, here's the problem is that those coaches would already do it if they thought it gave them a better chance to win. One tick better chance to win, by the way, Jerry. You and I know, I mean,
yeah. So
if they thought there was any chance they'd give them they would take it.
Yeah, I mean, what's so interesting about the Texas offensive line to me is, and Cole Hudson, I call him a Swiss Army knife. He can play center or either guard spot, right? And I agree with what Bobby's saying. What's interesting about Texas offensive line is he can help you at multiple spots, but I think you want to keep him in one spot. I don't think you want to move a guy from center to guard back and forth all the time, right? That's the hard thing. If it was left and right guard, it's the different, Rod. But right when you're talking center, your first year starting at center, if you say, okay, well, maybe we can use him as the number 2 left guard and cut down some of Stroh's snaps if we want to do that, then you're moving a guy from center to guard. Now, that's different from left guard to right guard to me, because that Cole Hudson is the versatile piece on this offensive line. Mm-hmm. If it was his second year starting at center or third year starting at center, if you said, man, we need him at left guard in this game, maybe you do some things, but it's tougher when it's his first year starting at center to me, when you're wanting him to kind of he's learning center as we go. You're not learning it, but getting experience as you go here.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, is Connor Robertson your 6th best offensive lineman? If he is, you're going to see and Campbell and/or Connor Stroh get injured, then Cole Hudson may very well move to guard.
Yeah.
And Robertson get inserted.
Yeah.
But if he's the 7th best offensive lineman and NATO is better than him, and I don't think Texas has been tasked with that discussion yet.
Right.
Because neither Stroh nor DJ Campbell have really been injured. I think Campbell went out for like 2 plays one game. They brought NATO in.
All right. Thank you for the question, Joey Austin. Low J-N. How about this one for Jerry? If Miami has a great year, how bad does that hurt our Florida recruiting?
I don't think it hurts the recruiting, and here's why. If Texas was dependent on 7 or 8 guys out of the state of Florida, if Florida State and Miami both end up having really good years and Florida hires a new coach and they get buzz off of that, then it's a different story. But Texas is cherry pick recruiting Florida. And I equate it to this. Texas has been the college football playoff 2 years in a row. Did that matter to Devin Sanchez? It did not. So, I think there's some kids who just want to get away and do something different, or something doesn't make sense to them from from some standpoint within a program, playing time, NIL, whatever. So when you're only signing 1, 2, or 3 guys out of the state of Florida, I don't think it's truly impactful, because here's the reality is, for me, is if James Johnson and Derek Cooper end up following through and signing with Texas, they had every reason to flip to Miami this year. Miami's got excitement again. The stadium's been unbelievable when Notre Dame and Florida played there. Miami's a cavernous nothing when they're not good, but when they are good, it's a party atmosphere. Every pros, they all live down there. You'll see them at the games. Mm-hmm. So if some guys just want to get away and do something different at the end of the day, and the SEC still carries a lot of weight. And Miami is, for as good a season as they're having right now, they're still way behind in football facilities. And these kids are worldly now. They get out and see everywhere.
They do.
The biggest thing that changed for University of Miami recruiting was when South Florida guys started 7-on-7 teams and started taking these kids all around the country. That's when these kids that are in Miami said, whoa, look at the facilities, look at this Georgia, and look at Tennessee, and look at all these places we're going. Back in the 80s, early 90s, those kids weren't getting out and seeing places like that. That really changed Miami's recruiting, because they haven't they haven't kept up in the facilities race like they need to. The stadium's 40 minutes away from campus, right? But when they're good now, that place is a party scene.
Good point. All right, last question here, guys. For you, Bobby. Should Texas just focus on transfer quarterbacks going forward? Seems like the way in the day of the portal.
You're not. I think that for certain teams it is, and I think for certain teams it won't be. For Indiana, yes. Just go find one that works for you. They need plug and plays. That's what I want to say this. Remember when Kansas State was good?
Mm-hmm.
All they did was have one JUCO quarterback after another. Cycle. That's not unlike what Indiana's doing right now.
Yeah.
But it is better. It should be noted, Kansas State never won anything nationally. Never played. I mean, I think they won 2 Big 12 championships in 25 years or whatever. I think the best way is to build with high school quarterbacks that are in your system for a long period of time. Because I just feel like that's the best way. The one thing that you do get, I think, is you may get more bang for your buck by going to the portal. Like Miami went and paid a lot to get a proven quarterback. Okay. Indiana went and paid a lot to get a proven quarterback. What happens if Carson Beck goes down? What happens if Fernando Mendoza goes down? And you've not been recruiting those high school kids. You're SOL because you can't get 2 and 3 quarterbacks nowadays through the portal. So in some ways, I understand what you're saying. I don't think Texas has to, though. Yeah. Nor do I think Texas should.
Yeah.
I mean,
system.
Yeah.
Develop them.
Let's think. I would say this. Ohio State won't be going to the portal for 3 years for a quarterback. They did once, right? Notre Dame will not be. They did early in Marcus Freeman, but now with CJ Carr, they won't be going to the portal for 3 years. So I think a lot of the teams where, Oregon now, Dante Moore transferred in and sat out a year, but they won't be going to the portal for 3 years now with him. So I think you're going to – Miami, yes, but I think you're going to see some of the power players right now maybe not go to the portal for 2 or 3 years because they have a really good young one. To Bobby's point, if you got a good young one and he's got a chance, then you ride that thing out.
I'm interested. Rod and Jerry, the one thing I'm interested in, what happens when these guys get injured?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to, if you have a Fernando Mendoza, for example, and he's who you're riding your hopes on and he gets injured, where's your team?
Yeah.
That's my point. Yet if you're developing your own quarterbacks, and it doesn't have to be either or, it can be a mix of both, I guess. But you're not going to keep your young quarterbacks if you're going to the portal constantly either.
Yeah.
So
The other thing with the portal quarterbacks is sometimes if you make what have we seen, OC change and QB comes with him.
Yeah. More and more.
That's what Mateer did, right?
And Pavia, right? I mean, that's the whole deal is like, so if you're, let's just say I don't know, throw a school out there. Say Shannon Dawson left Miami, even if they had a high school quarterback they liked that they were redshirting. Say Shannon Dawson, the OC at Miami, gets a head coaching job, Virginia Tech or something, he leaves. And you hire an OC and his quarterback's a really good player. That guy's coming with him nowadays to run that system. That's really smart coaching in the portal, offensive coaching. We've seen this. We're seeing people make really good decisions with that, in my opinion.
Yeah, Oklahoma's done it twice. They like it. It's like a little recipe for Oklahoma with Levy and Dylan Gabriel and
3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Baker Mayfield transfer.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen Hurts transfer. Kyler Murray transfer. Dylan Gabriel transfer. John Mateer transfer.
Yeah, but now they're bringing in the OC.
Some of those before the portal.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, you're right.
But
now
that's a pretty strong group.
But the Oklahoma, to your point, Bobby, they're one of those programs now. They're like, no, we're a transfer portal program.
Yeah.
Quarterback. That's what we do. It's worked for us. That's how we're going to approach it.
So let's look for who hires Brian Harsin in the offseason for that Cal quarterback.
That package deal. Oh, man. All right. Good stuff, guys. Good conversation. Way to end it. Thank you guys for all the questions and your participation. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the super chats as well. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to our friends over at Garage Beer. Really appreciate them jumping on board, being a part of the On Texas Football family. Thanks to Von Lane, vonlane.com. Use that code OTF25. You'll save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. Thanks to the University Co-op. We really appreciate them. Even when we're not in the friendly confines of the co-op, we appreciate them being part of the On Texas Football family. Thanks to 40 Acres Apparel. Always love 40 Acres Apparel. That's my game day gear, as well as the guys here at OTF. Thanks to Matthew behind the scenes. He's a real MVP. We appreciate all the hard work from Matthew. If you want to be an OTF OG and become an insider from the great hard work of our staff here, you can become one today. Go to ontexasfootball.com. You can go use that code OTFOG, and you'll get a year's access to On Texas Football for just $39.95. We cover a lot here on the YouTube platform, but it is a fraction of what is actually covered there on the website at ontexasfootball.com. So thank you guys. We appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks to Bobby. We appreciate all of your expertise and knowledge. Jerry, thanks for all the hard work as usual. And thank you guys for joining us, watching and listening. For Bobby and for Jerry and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns.
Hi.